Yo, welcome back. Welcome back to the essence of the creator. Basically, some breaking news got this new AI to write this huge 252-page book just on the first reading of Parshas Bamidbar, and it's pretty intense. It goes through all the major commentaries I got from Wikisource, so it's all open source, and I just copied them manually. And for some of them, I copied to the ChatGPT 4, and then I asked it to explain it. Then I copied the explanation from ChatGPT 4 back to the regular ChatGPT 5, and I got it to write this really intense commentaries. And even just the first reading is a huge amount of reading. Just going to turn to a random part right now. It says, what does it say here? Pretty intense. It's talking about like this whole narrative of like talking rocks, talking to each other about the Torah, because when Moshiach comes, the rocks will talk. Says with each commentary, this is section 12, the talking rock absorbs the wisdom of the sages, expanding its own understanding of the divine command. It recognizes the multifaceted nature of the counting, encompassing practical, symbolic, and spiritual dimensions. It's not the counting in the desert. Okay, there's better parts. This is just the beginning. Let's give you to a random part. Let's see. Section 166. In Kabbalistic symbolism, the stones hold significant spiritual meanings. They are often associated with stability, grounding, and each other. Okay. It says, in the Messianic era, the boundaries between the material and the spiritual realms are said to blur, and even inanimate objects will bear witness to the divine presence. The talking stones symbolize this merging of the physical and spiritual realms, as they embody the divine wisdom and spiritual consciousness that will permeate all of creation. Okay, this is just like a side thing, but in terms of the actual Chumash, this is on section 170, as it writes about one of the verses, one of the commentaries on the verses. It goes through like all the commentaries from Wikisource and just individually writes like a whole novel chapter plus poem for each of those commentaries. So it's pretty intense. The sun hung high in the clear azure sky, casting its golden rays upon the vast desert landscape. The air shimmered with palpable heat, as if the very breath of the earth held a touch of fire. The desert, a barren tapestry of shifting dunes and rugged mountains, stood as a testament to the passage of time and the resilience of life. In this vast expanse, the group of individuals, the leaders of the tribes, stood with purpose and determination. The names whispered on the wind, carried by the breath of ancient stories and sacred lineage. And in this sacred gathering, the voice of Reuven, the firstborn, resonated with a unique resonance. Does that make sense? Okay. Reuven, a symbol of beginnings, held a place of honor within the lineage of Yaakov's sons. But the significance of his name being mentioned first transcended mere birthright. This is like the reason why Reuven is mentioned first, even though he's the firstborn, but doesn't have the rights of the firstborn. So that's what the Ibn Ezra talks about. So this is like the whole novel chapter just talking about just the commentary of the Ibn Ezra on this one part. Ibn Ezra, in his profound wisdom, illuminated the deeper meaning behind this choice. Quote, for Reuven, it begins with the firstborn, not to relate to the firstborn rights, unquote. These words, like a gentle breeze caressing the weary souls, reminding the leaders that the order of the listing did not dictate the rights and privileges associated with being the firstborn. Right? Because Reuven was mentioned first, but it's not because he had the rights of the firstborn. Reuven, though born first, had lost his birthright due to his misconduct. The divine design and its infinite wisdom chose to honor the birth order without conferring the traditional privileges. Interesting. The desert sands whispered ancient tales, stories of redemption and transformation. They spoke of the journey of the soul, of how birthright is not solely determined by lineage, but by character, integrity, and the choices we make along the way. Interesting. In this gathering of leaders, the spirit of Reuben, with all its complexities and lessons, stood as a beacon of reflection. It reminded them that true honor and distinction were not granted by birthright alone, but earned through righteousness, humility, and a devotion to the divine plan. It mentioned Reuben first, but other people, I think Yehuda had the right of the birthright. So I'm not sure if that's what it's talking about. Each leader standing tall with their unique name and purpose represented a thread in the divine tapestry. They were not defined solely by their birth order, but by the depth of their character and the wisdom they imparted to their tribes. Their names, like fragments of a sacred melody, resonated with the essence of their tribe's journey, intertwining with the collective destiny of the Jewish people. It's pretty deep. The desert, a vast expanse of sand and solitude, bore witness to this gathering of souls. The wind, whispering secrets from distant lands, carried the echoes of their names, mingling them with the ancient stories etched in the rocks and canyons. The sun, casting its warm embrace upon the assembled leaders, bestowed a radiant glow that illuminated their spirits and illuminated their path. Not sure if that's double language, whatever. In this moment, the gathering of leaders transcended the earthly realm. They became conduits of divine guidance, vessels through which the eternal message flowed. This is like so ridiculous. Each name carried, chosen, and spoken with reverence, carried a resonance that resonated, double language, with the very essence of the tribe it represented. Reuben, the firstborn, I haven't even read most of this, symbolized the power of redemption and growth. His name being mentioned first was a reminder that birthright extended beyond mere lineage. It was mentioned first because of lineage, but I guess whatever. It encompassed the journey of the soul, the capacity for transformation, and the ability to rise above past mistakes. I don't know what this is talking about. As the leaders stood together, their names etched an indelible mark upon the desert sands. They embodied the collective destiny of the Jewish people. Each one with their unique strengths and challenges contributed to the symphony of unity and purpose. The Ebenezer's commentary echoed through their minds, I guess, a gentle reminder to not judge based solely on birthright, but to seek the true measure of a leader's worth. I don't know what that's referring to, because Reuben was mentioned because of his lineage of the birthright, but it's expressing that he didn't have the rights of the birthright. They understood that their role went beyond the external trappings of power and authority. It encompassed the responsibility to. Then he cut off, or he keeps going. Okay, just like skipped around another end part. And then it makes like tables of the thing, which is kind of cool. Okay, of the numbers and the leaders. I don't know actually. I'm not sure if it did the table for numbers. Maybe I should go back to that. But it did the tables for like the leaders and tribe, and it wrote like all these really intense poems. This is all just the first reading. It's like hundreds of sections and 250 something pages. If you do like 6x9 paper. Let's see here. I'm trying to find one of the poems. This is section 206. In the desert's embrace, a congregation stood. With hearts aflame, they understood. Is that right? Leaders called with purpose clear, their voices resonating loud and near. The sunlit sands, a stage of might, where destiny and vision take flight. Wisdom's symphony in leaders' hands, guiding souls across sacred lands. They, the chosen, anointed few, called by Moshe, Aaron too, with hearts ablaze, a sacred trust, to lead their people true and just. Their words, like stars in the night sky, illuminate the path, no question why. In unity, their voices entwine, a tapestry woven, divine. With each decision, a guiding light, in times of darkness, banishing fright. They carry the hopes of the congregation, a beacon of hope, a source of inspiration. Okay, let's go to another poem. It says section 216. This is just taking the verses, and again, like most of it, I posted it to first to ChatGPT 4, and then I copied that from that explanation that ChatGPT 4 gave and pasted it back to ChatGPT 3.5 because it's a lot faster. And I told it to like elaborate it in the form of a poem or a chapter of a novel, and it's pretty interesting most of the time. In the depths of sacred wisdom, where the ancient verses echo, and the commentaries unravel the secrets of divine flow. Gets around. Let us embark on a journey where words transcend their form as the energy of creation guides us through the storm. From the stone's advice, right? Because I asked it to like write a huge critique of its own writing from the perspective of other talking stones that were like in a book club that were arguing with each other about how bad it is. Until then, it's pretty good, but like the stones are pretty critical since they're in book club, and so there's a whole conversation, a bunch of conversations about like the stones arguing about how it could be better. It's pretty funny. So from the stones' advice, we learn to listen and embrace the unique melodies of souls, each with its own grace, like threads of tapestry, weaving a vibrant whole. It always uses like the same like analogies, like tapestries that are uniting divine voices, stirring the depths of every soul. I guess the voices of the stones. Maybe as we delve into the verse, these are the ones called of the congregation. We discover leaders chosen with purpose and dedication. The heads of the Sanhedrin, wise and just. This is one of the commentaries said that they were, the heads of the tribes were really the heads of the Sanhedrin. So it's just like writing about that. Guiding the people with knowledge and trust. For major matters, a symphony of wisdom was required. A chorus of voices with roles divinely inspired. The king, the prophet, the high priest, and Sanhedrin's might, creating a harmonious blend. Shining wisdom's light. Okay. However, point is pretty long. I don't even know how I'm going to publish this. Maybe I'll make another tutorial soon about how to publish the ChatGPT conversations as actual paper back and or hardcover books. Basically, just use Amazon Web Services and export everything. Anyway, see ya.